Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS America Premier League. This is Group B. We're going to get on into State versus Oz in game number 2 here. State losing to Oz in game number 1, but possibly could bring this back. This is going to be another mirror match of PvP, and looks like we're going to be on Whirlwind.
Whirlwind is a pretty interesting map for PvP. It's so big and open. Phoenixes are often really great, and units like Colossi and Immortals that have to be rallied out of rowboat and cross the map tend to be slightly weaker than you might find them on a map with those all the great ramp play like Belshraver Siege.
Yeah, it's really going to be one of those great maps where you're going to have speedy units, of course, getting everywhere. But the Protoss army, it's actually not that speedy. Not like Zergling, not like Hellions, not anything else. I mean, the only speedy thing is that Phoenix. And that's about it. Poor Protoss, very slow. Slow.
Yes.
Slow Protoss ahead. It's going to be the sign here for this map. All right, guys, let's get into this map. Spawning up here in the top right-hand corner from Team Evil Geniuses, our blue Protoss player. It is Oz. And spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner, our red Protoss player down a game, but can he bring it back? It is State.
So Whirlwind, Blink Stalkers can be common, and also Stargate openings. And because both those openings can be pretty common, and the standard, well, it's not standard anymore, but a robotics opening is slightly less common. DT play all of a sudden becomes very common as well. So there's all kinds of crazy builds in Whirlwind, proxy Stargates, DT warpins from all kinds of angles. It's kind of a little bit of a crazy map in PvP. And I think that's going to favor State a bit, because Oz has to be really careful about what State could potentially do. If he wants to try to get a very good feeling for what State's doing, the best way to do that is usually putting on some pressure early that often forces other players to reveal their hand.
And we saw last game that State went for those very quick 3 Stalkers, but unfortunately just wasn't able to do that much. Those 3 Stalkers, of course, can help out in scouting out and what your opponent's up to, and gets you a little bit of that map control, and he tried to turn that into a nice little nexus for himself, but unfortunately Oz punished that very severely. So maybe we're not going to be seeing so much of an investment in trying to get those Stalkers out as early as possible. Maybe he's going to go for the Mothership Cores just like Oz did.
It could be. You know, it's actually kind of funny. If he didn't get the Stalkers and got the Nexus even faster, he probably would have defended that, right? Because he would have, once it finishes, you have that Photon Overcharge, and that can buy you time to get the additional warpins you need to make that defense. But those 3 Stalkers really didn't work out for him. In that first game, we'll see if he chooses to do it again. Is Oz going to also get that Zealot? We saw last game he got the Zealot. Is he going to get it this game? Is he going to get it?
Looks like no.
Yes,
Zealot.
there
we
it
go.
goes.
Zealot now underway.
He does like this opening. State scouting early.
That poor Zealot's going to have to come out here, and he's going to have to go wander off into the giant yonder that is Whirlwind. Very large map. Going to have to work on his cross-country skills.
State's scouting cross-map first. Of course, one of the advantages of doing that is you can often tell where your opponent is by their scout timing. If you scout cross-map and they don't scout cross-map, the time it takes their probe to get to your base sometimes reveals exactly where they are.
And yeah, once again, both of these players going for... Ooh, actually, Oz going for a sentry very quickly. A bit different from last time.
A very defensive opening from Oz. Getting a Stalker third. We could be seeing a Twilight Council or Stargate go down very soon for Oz. Those are the buildings that usually typically follow this Zealot Sentry Stalker opening.
You were saying before that it was, you know, it's very kind of rock, paper, scissors-esque, but I'd say it's going to be more rock, paper, scissors, Dark Shrine. Where neither rock nor paper nor scissors have detection, and that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Nexus going down here for Oz.
That's right. It's going to be an expansion build. He has the Mothership Core. He has the Sentry out. The one thing I really like about PvP and Heart of the Swarm is with Oracles having detection, and then of course with Mothership Core having Photon Overcharge, it's much harder to lose from a build order counter, because no matter what build you do, you can fast expand and still you're able to defend aggression, right? You can open Stargate and you're still able to spot those DTs as long as you know in time to get that Oracle out. So there's a lot of really cool nuances of modern PvP where you really have to... Every build order works, but you have to adapt your build order depending on what your opponent does. Both players going for a fast expansion, but Oz going straight to Stargate play.
Yeah, both of them going very, very defensive with all those popping out a lot of sentries. It is, you know, just a large ramp that's defending your natural, so being able to get that natural nexus up is pretty easy if you have enough sentries to be able to defend it. And that's exactly what both these players are doing.
Oz transferring probes a little on the early end.
State going for robo play.
Robo play, of course, is the more conservative approach. But Oz is very confident. He's aware of the map and knows what could potentially happen. Using Hallucination Scout, of course, just now realizing his opponent's in the bottom right, so the Hallucination ended up going the wrong direction.
And is going to run out of time before it's actually going to be able to scout too much, I fear.
Oh, it's going to see the Nexus, though.
Poof. And it's gone. Doesn't see the Robo Bay, though.
No.
And that's going to be one of those, nice little things there for State. Of course, State doesn't have any idea of what Oz is doing either. So kind of we're just going to be both in the dark, except for the fact that Oz knows that State went for the Nexus.
Oh, State Sanusei Phoenix getting in here. It sees the double Stargate from Oz. And now State's going to have to find out, okay, what should I do if my opponent goes double Stargate? Should I go for a timing attack, or should I take a very fast third base? Those are really the only two options you should consider. If you just stay, 2 base versus 2 base, the Stargate units are going to get map control, and as they scale up, they become very, very cost efficient. But there is a window before your opponent gets too many Stargate units where you can really try to put together either the timing or just take a very fast third base. State going for a Twilight Council.
I really like this decision. Doesn't look like he's going to be popping out too much here, at least in the beginning here from this Robo facility. Because every unit that's going to come out of that Robo facility is going to be very susceptible to air attacks. Phoenix will be able to lift off Immortals, making them less useful in battles. Phoenix could take out War Prisms. Phoenix can take out pretty much everything. So not really using that Robo facility for too much just yet. Instead, just going straight for Blink.
I kind of would like to see State even throw down a Dark Shrine here. Forcing your opponent to build Oracles is a unit that really, in this situation, Oz doesn't want to have to build Oracles. Or he would have to then spend some of his resources on the Robotics and the Observers. And if he's doing that, you can just turn your DTs into Archons and go for a charge at Archon timing, or just try to control the map with that and get a superior economy. Oz, of course, thinking that DTs may be a possibility at this point in the game, is getting that Robotics facility down.
Stalkers defending the main. Couple of units defending the natural. Actually, not too many that are actually really good against Phoenix's 2 sentries.
Most ship core with Photon Overcharge. 1 probe goes down. These Phoenixes trying to find an angle where they can do damage, but State, very good defense, especially considering that he doesn't have Blink yet. Right.
He's actually doing an incredibly good job. There's that Dark Shrine that you were looking for before. But Oz, of course, with the Robo facility is already out. Actually, no, sorry, just finishing up right now. I'm probably going to start popping out. Yep, there's the immediate Observer. So the Dark Shrine's not going to be able to do too much damage. But, of course, as we were saying before, could turn those Archons into... or those Dark Templar into Archons. Use it in a push later on.
That's right. Oz going for Colossi. Generally, if you're going heavy Stargate units and your opponent starts getting a lot of Blink Stalkers, Colossi are your ideal response to those Stalkers. Immortals can be okay, but only if your opponent doesn't build any Zealots. And it's pretty unlikely to hope your opponent does that. So Immortals are really, your Colossi are really your go-to unit if you want to play that late game battle versus the ground army. Oh, State's Observer has been found out, and it is going to be assassinated.
At first, the Observer thought he had a whole bunch of friends, and then he realized that the color was just a little bit wrong.
Of course, State, no third base yet. He's going to want to take a third base because he does have an upgrade advantage, but his composition doesn't really have the answer to the Classic quite yet. Oh, but he's getting charged. That should help as long as the numbers stay small.
And he's got these DTs now heading out across the map. Are there any Observers with the Force here that's been used to grab the third base here for Oz? No, there is not.
One Stalker getting picked off, or one Phoenix, excuse me, getting picked off. DT's very bold, sending all 3 in together. Potentially risky if they're spotted by an Observer, but as is, where are those Observers from Oz? An Immortal pops out. That doesn't help against DTs.
I really like this. State is using those DTs to focus down the sentries. It's going to give him way less force fields later on in the battles. Of course, sentries are incredibly expensive themselves. And that's 100 gas every single sentry he takes out. Now, another Observer has come out here. Doesn't matter. State doing a lot of damage, taking out yet another pylon. Oh, just barely getting grabbed there before that pylon goes down, denying that upgrade.
The 2 robotics facilities were canceled. Observer does get back in time, but State's DTs have done a lot of damage. No third base yet from Oz, scrambling to recover from that DT. State also was able to scout the double robo, so he knows his opponent's transitioning into full Colossi. State with the better economy.
Really good play here from State, keeping his opponent stuck in his base. Doesn't want him to be using the small Phoenix army and everything else to zone him. And meanwhile, Oz is building up a pretty big army, double robo.
The one thing I think State's in a great position, but oh no, if he loses too many probes here, that could be disastrous. The feedback going down, that's a nice move. Along the photon overcharge, Phoenix is, a little bit of overblink there, but he still was able to take out a couple. Oh, using High Templar, but they get picked up as they're warping in. State losing 300 gas.
Beautiful play there by Oz. State actually, his Stalkers blinked in a really kind of weird fashion there to deal with those Phoenixes. 2 Phoenixes escape, but 2 High Templar going down. That's a huge loss there. Getting Storm just about to finish up here. He does have 2 High Templar already.
State has several advantages in this game. He has a better economy, and he has better upgrades, but his opponent is going to have a much stronger max army composition because he's going double Robo Colossi. State needs to either add in an additional robotics facility or do something crazy like build triple Stargate and do a hard transition into air support to overwhelm his opponent's Colossi count.
State so far not taking either of those paths, just trying to get those upgrades.
Psystorm can sometimes work too. If you have a couple of your own Colossi, even if your opponent has more, potentially enough well-landed Psystorms can turn that game in your favor. If he's opting for that path though, I kind of like to see him use his current map control, take a 4th base and get the additional gas you need to really produce a lot of High Templar. Oh, 1 cannon. This DT may not be able to get the damage he wants to do.
Oh, it's going to be the DT versus the cannon.
Well, he can focus down several probes. The army did leave.
That's exactly what he's doing.
No. Oh,
Takes
he's just going to run.
Hits.
Yeah.
Gonna run. All right.
1 probe kill. Not
Fair
bad.
enough. That's going to be able to give him a little bit of scouting information. Stalkers are moving around here for State, going to poke around, see what they can see. They're actually going to walk right on into that huge army. Doesn't actually take a single loss, though.
Some damage, but not...
A lot of damage on that one Stalker.
State going for 3-3 upgrades. State's now on double robo production, I believe. So he is going to be able to try to equalize his opponent's... Does he have double robo production? Yes, he is.
Once again, State's Stalkers walk right on into Oz's army, and he finally does lose that one Stalker that was hurt from before.
Stalker's not of super extreme value in these late game PvP battles. Of course, damage output from Stalkers is very low relative to their cost. So they're nice from ability, nice from map control, and actually sometimes you can pick off a Colossi or 2 mid-battle from a weird angle. But State's not going to be looking to really replace those Stalkers unless his opponent goes back into air.
5 Colossus to 2, though, for Oz. Oz in a very good position.
Oz is moving out, though, before he's max, which means State has a significant supply advantage.
Yeah, but State doesn't really have that much. He's got 2 Immortals, which is going to be able to... if he can get those Immortals in range of those Colossus, he's going to be able to tear them apart. The difficulty is going to be if Oz can reposition his Colossi to, you know, abuse the fact that he's got Thermal Lance and just stay out of range of those Immortals that have a significantly less range. Here comes Oz pushing straight down into State's
it's a big
natural.
open area. If it's open enough, State's superior charge lock count could play a big role in this battle. He also has superior upgrades. The more spread out the battle is, the better it favors State.
Oh, some pretty big storms going down here. Charge lots going straight on into those Colossus. A whole bunch of storms. 1 Colossus goes down. Oz actually taking some heavy casualties here. His Colossus trying to get out of here. The charge lots are continuing to chase them down pretty effectively. Actually, State taking a huge lead in this battle. 158 to 116 in supply count.
Wow, great win for State there. Oz really fighting at a poor time when he had an army disadvantage. His opponent was max and he wasn't. In an open area where the charge loss could really just run over his composition. Trying to counterattack to even things up, but a DT Warpin should deal with that. Meanwhile, State, Zealot countering at the 3rd. Main army pushing into the natural. All the Colossi have fallen from Oz.
He's done so much damage, takes out the single pylon that was powering both of those robo facilities, denying those two Colossus from coming out. But at that point, those two Colossus weren't going to do that much. There was so much out there besides State's already existing two Colossus.
Wow, what a great play by State. Really taking the battle at the perfect moment in an open area where his superior charge lock count could matter. Time Warp's going down from Oz, but State is able to get out of them quickly, and when he counter Time Warps on the Colossi of Oz, they can't kite against the charge locks.
The storms do so much damage as well, instantly evaporating that Immortal's hardened shields. The Immortal was not able to take out any of the Colossus here for State either. This battle just went so well here for State, and he was immediately able to turn it into a victory. Very, very well played there by State. But guys, let's get on into game number 2 here.
3.
Yes, 3. Oh my, I have completely forgotten that first game happened. It was so quick. But yeah, game number 3. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.